Assalamualaikum. My name is Nadhirah Binti Sabri, PA18021. So today I'm going to present my final year project 2 with title Knowledge, Attitude, Practice of Musculoskeletal Disorder among Municipal Solid Waste Collectors. In Malaysia, municipal solid waste collection are still manually performed. The example of manual handling activities are heavy lifting of the waste bag, pulling or pushing the waste bin, and many more. So this repetitive dense physical activity can raise the risk of getting musculoskeletal disorder (MSDS). So effect of poor knowledge among workers can cause them to fail to detect the risk. So although workers are aware of the associated consequence or risk, but due to different attitude, they might still take the risk and lead to faulty practices. So through KAP Knowledge Attitude Practice Study, it has the ability to uncover the misassumption that could be the barrier to the intervention activities being implemented before. So the objective for this study is to assess the level of KAP on MSDS among municipal solid waste collectors. Secondly, to determine the prevalence of MSDS among municipal solid waste collectors. Thirdly, to determine the association between prevalence of MSDS and socio-demographic characteristic. And lastly, to determine the association between level of KAP and prevalence of MSDS. So this study is a cross-sectional study. 67 questionnaires were distributed to municipal solid waste collectors in Temerloh, Pahang, but only 40 were successfully collected back. So these self-administered questionnaires were adopted from previous research template and Nordic musculoskeletal questionnaire. So the reliability test result for this study show that all variables in the questionnaire are reliable for the next analysis, and for data analysis was conducted by using SPSS version 26. So for the result of this study, based on the first graph, the majority of solid waste collectors had poor knowledge of MSDS, poor attitude towards MSDS, and poor practices of ergonomic principles. So for knowledge section, the many respondents did not know that awkward posture is a risk factor of MSDS. Tingling or vibration on whole body, hands and legs are sign or symptom of MSDS, and muscle strengthening and stretching exercise are treatment for MSDS. And for attitude section, many respondents agreed that they did not concern about early treatment for MSDS. They also agreed that they has insufficient knowledge on prevention or detection of MSDS, and they also agreed that they are unable to work without bending their back. And for practice section, many respondents stated that they are unable to keep their shoulder relaxed and ensuring gentle hand movement while working, and also did not involve in stretching activity. For the next graph, we can see that the highest prevalence of MSDS in the last 12 months was the right shoulder pain. And for the next graph, many respondents were prevented from doing normal work due to the pain in the wrist or hand. And for the next graph, the highest prevalence of MSDS in the last 7 days was also the shoulder pain. Previous study has stated that shoulder were put under a lot of strain while waste collectors were manually collecting the waste. And based on this table, the present correlation test results show that there is a low positive correlation between age and prevalence of MSDS in the previous 12 months based on a p-value below than 0.05. So based on the graph, we can see that as the waste collector's age increases, the prevalence of MSDS also increase. Previous study has stated that as the age of waste collectors rise from 25 to 35 years to over 45 years old, the likelihood to develop MSDS also increase. So based on the last table, the chi-square test results show that there is no significant association between level of KAP and prevalence of MSDS in the last 12 months based on the p-value above than 0.05. So this was most likely due to the low sample size in the study, which is 40. Previous study has stated that chi-square test results are most accurate when sample size are high enough to achieve enough statistical power. So for recommendation in this study, firstly, follow-up study with the larger sample size may improve the result, and secondly, for future study, may consider obtaining respondent from other solid waste company. So in conclusion, waste collector had poor knowledge of MSDS, poor attitude to MSDS, and also poor practices of ergonomic principles. And so shoulder region had the highest prevalence of MSDS in the previous 12 months among municipal solid waste collectors, and there is a low positive correlation between age and prevalence of MSDS in the previous 12 months. And lastly, the level of KAP were not related to prevalence of MSDS among municipal solid waste collectors. So that's all from me. Thank you.